Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money. The WorryFree Retirement with your host, five-time author and retirement specialist, the annuity king himself, Tony Walker.
Welcome to the WorryFree Retirement. I am Tony Walker, and I do want to thank you very much for those of you who have ordered our wonderful book, Mailbox Money for Life. And that's the purpose of today's show. With so many booklets flying off the shelf, first of all, the offer still stands. We still have a supply of the Mailbox Money for Life booklets. They're absolutely free. To get yours, just go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, scroll down to that Mailbox Money icon, and we'll get you that in the mail very quickly. So let's go back. Why is this whole theme of Mailbox Money for Life gaining so much traction? Well, first of all, we got to go back and understand where this concept even came from. So three very important events occurred in 1978. First, I graduated from high school. Second, my granddad, who I was very fond of and spent a lot of time with, retired after 43 years of working for the same company. And then finally in 1978, the government passed into law the Revenue Act of 1978, otherwise known to millions of Americans as, drumroll please, the 401k plan. Now, while we can all agree that my graduation from high school has nothing to do with your retirement, these other two events really do. Because in 1978, in exchange for all of those many years of loyalty service to his employer, Granddad got from his employer guaranteed income he could never outlive. His employer, well, they called it a pension. Granddad, he called it mailbox money. On the other hand, because of the introduction of the 401k back in 1978, Americans are finding out all too well, more and more, that their retirement picture is missing something. What's it missing? Mailbox money. No guaranteed lifetime income. Now, I don't dispute this. The 401k is a wonderful savings tool. It really is. Problem is, it's a lousy income tool because not only is your money all tied up prior to normal retirement, or in most cases age 59 and a half, Wall Street, who's overseeing trillions of dollars locked up in these plans, makes out like bandits because they get fees on your money all the while. Listen, all the while, these 401ks have buried within them something I call the tax tumor. And what's ironic about this is Wall Street charges fees on 100% of the money in these 401ks, but 70, 80%, maybe 60%, depending on your tax bracket, you're not even going to see that money. And add insult to injury there, no mailbox money either, because 401ks cannot provide what my granddad called his beloved mailbox money. So if we can, let's go back to my 18th birthday, 1978. There's a picture of me and Granddad out on the porch with his favorite cat, Inky. And when I witnessed this scene shortly thereafter, this scene still shines in my mind. I can remember it like it was yesterday. Granddad came home from work from Bell South like he had done for many years before. He walks in the front door, sits down for a minute, and he kind of chimes to his wife, beloved wife, Hazel, my grandmother, says, "Hazel, I'm going to retire." Now, what's interesting, think about this, 1978, this was the first time in my life that I'd been around anybody close to me who had even used this word retired. You know, really prior to my granddad retiring, most grandparents, a lot of them quite frankly never really retired. They just kind of kept working. Many of them didn't live long lives. They may have worked on a farm. The notion of working up to this point and then just retiring was very unusual. So I quickly found out a couple of weeks later what Granddad meant when he came home with a clock and a license plate that says I was retired. And I remember this, he never went back to work again. Nada. No part-time work, nothing. So, Granddad retired without the help of a financial advisor, which is what I grew up to be, because he didn't need one. Back then, most hardworking Americans, they had money in savings, they had their pension, and most of them had a small house that was paid for, so they didn't have any debt. Why in the world, right, would they need an advisor like yours truly? So people back then put their faith in employer-sponsored pension plans and Social Security. Those were two forms of mailbox money. Again, money that they hoped would never run out. So let's talk about this before we get into our next segment. What is mailbox money? It relies on science, not chance, or is supposed to be science. The folks who calculate mailbox money, especially, we're going to talk about this in a minute, that work with private annuities, other than pension and Social Security, private annuities are the only form of mailbox money out there. These people that calculate these numbers are called actuaries. Now, actuaries are not like the high rollers on Wall Street, nor are they like the folks at the bank. These are simply people that are trained in the management of risk and the creation of strong, predictable returns on your money. Actuaries, in the case of private annuities, are employed by the very insurance companies that issue the annuities, which then in turn provide what we call mailbox money. These folks immerse themselves in science. They're trying to calculate how long people will live. They're trying to calculate the rates of return backing these annuities. And they're making very, very conservative and safe assumptions to make sure that the mailbox money being promised will deliver for the rest of your life. Now, mailbox money can be created for a certain period of time. It can be credited over your lifetime. There's different ways to calculate mailbox money, but just keep in mind, mailbox money is guaranteed over whatever period of time you've selected. And people say, well, I don't know if I like annuities, Tony. I heard a guy on the TV saying he hated annuities. Well, apparently he must hate every other form of mailbox money, pensions and Social Security included, because that's all they are. They're all based on annuities, which began the concept back around the turn of the Civil War, when the veterans back then were promised pensions or annuities by the government. So they've been around a long time and they've been tested, battlefield tested, no pun intended. So here's what I'm going to do. When I come back, I'm going to actually show you, because of this concept, mailbox money is growing in so much popularity with our offices and our clients and prospective clients who order these booklets. I'm going to show you 4 different scenarios of actual clients that have used mailbox money in a variety of ways. This is going to be some good stuff. So if you're sitting there saying, Tony, how do you use mailbox money? Is it for a 401k? What about money at the bank? All these questions will be answered and more when I return. You stay tuned. You're watching the Worry-Free Retirement. I'm going to get out the whiteboard. I'll be right back.
And now it's time for the adventures of Stella, the Black Russian Terrier. You've been watching the adventures of Stella, the Black Russian Terrier.
Feel like the financial world is making more money on your money than you are? Tired of working hard to save money only to get 1% in return? Well, I'm Tony Walker, inviting you to meet with me in person to create a safe and simple game plan that includes mailbox money for life. To schedule your no-obligation appointment with me, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. While there, just click on the Let's Get Started button and we'll make that happen at your convenience. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon.
And now it's time for Tony in the Trenches.
All right, welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. Our Tony in the Trenches question comes from Allison up in New Albany, Indiana. Allison writes, Tony, is it possible to roll a small 401k into the fund that you mentioned on your show that doesn't lose any money but only gains at about half the rate? I'm currently still employed. This is a great question. What Allison is referring to is the other day we talked about an indexed annuity with a participation rate of about 50%, which they fluctuate, but really an indexed annuity says if the market goes up a certain percentage, you're going to get a percentage of that, but you have a floor. You cannot lose anything that it gains. Now, in Allison's case, a lot of times, like I just had a client come in, a prospective client just left the office. They have an old 401k, they're under the age of 59 and a half, and we can roll that in certainly. So let's say you work somewhere, it doesn't matter the size, we could move that into one of these accounts. Maybe you're 59 and a half or older and you're still funding a 401k. Usually the plan document allows you to roll that off. So here's what I would say. If you have a 401k from a prior employer, or if you're currently working with an employer and you're 59 and a half or older, let's get started and take a look at that thing because there's so many more options available outside the 401k. To do so, just go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on the Let's Get Started button, and as you'll notice, there's also an Ask Tony button right beside that. If you have any questions for me, there's never a cost or obligation. I'll be sure to get back to you as quickly as I can to answer those questions, and we do appreciate your questions very much. All right, here we go. This is going to be some good stuff because a lot of people, I think, sometimes, we try to put publications like this together, the Mailbox Money for Life. We just completed a workshop called Mailbox Money for Life. But a lot of times when people are ordering booklets and they're giving us questions and they're telling us why they ordered the booklet, as we talked in a staff meeting recently, we all sat down and we said, what do we really need to communicate on the TV show? Well, sometimes the material for the TV show comes right out of what these questions are from people. So it's very important for you to ask us any questions you have because that gives us an indication of things we need to do a deeper dive into, which is what I'm going to do here. Okay, so basically one of the questions came up recently, and again, the staff agreed was, Tony, we need to show more examples of things we've actually done so it might resonate with others in terms of their current situation. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to try to take my time. This is actually not bad, is it, Aaron? America's favorite financial sidekick is impressed because usually you can't even read my writing. So I came in here and tried to, as best I could, write this down where you could read the darn stuff. But we've got scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3, and of course scenario 4. And what I did was I picked different scenarios of ages. Let's start with scenario 1. This is a single person, age 60, okay? And they're interested in mailbox money. So in this case, they had a 401k worth $300,000, and because of various things that I decided in this particular case, I won't go into detail, we're going to look at $200,000 and putting that into an annuity that can provide future mailbox money. The person doesn't know when they're going to take Social Security, so that's a question mark. This is something we could help them with. Incidentally, Lisa in our office, if you have any Social Security questions, she's certified in Social Security. You just email Lisa at TonyWalkerFinancial.com, Lisa at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. She'll be happy to do her best to try to answer any questions you might have about Social Security. But that's part of our process. If you're getting an income plan from us, we're going to walk through all the scenarios with Social Security. But in this example, the person said, I don't know when I want to take Social Security. I'm single, okay? So we dropped it at that and we kept moving. We looked at this, and if they started Social Security at $1,500 a month, that's what it was going to be at 62. Now, in this case, the person was a little nervous. I remember this gentleman said that I'm nervous about Social Security's future. So we said, well, what if you took it at $1,500 a month? That'd be your first form of mailbox money. They also had a non-qualified brokerage account of $150, money in the bank of about $35, and they said they needed $2,500 a month when they retire, which they're thinking about retiring in 62. So in this example, we said, well, what if we could figure out a way to program this to where we wouldn't have to touch the $200,000, which is going into the annuity? And they said, well, how would you do that? Well, because we're going to use the 100, maybe take the Social Security, we can use this, we'll do the tax planning around this because we have qualified, non-qualified. See, folks, this is what goes into a true retirement plan. And if you see me get on my high horse sometimes, you run out here and you buy these annuities and you don't even have a game plan, and the annuity is just a piece of the puzzle. What the problem is, most people are making the annuities too much of the puzzle. It's just a piece, folks, so you have to understand that. So what we're going to kind of assume here, we're going to imagine I can take care of this income need of $2,500 a month. That's not going to be a problem. So, but these assets potentially may go down in value. We have to understand that. So what is going on here with the annuity? Now again, keep in mind, any of these annuity rates I'm showing you, they change all the time. We're not endorsing any one company. I'm just trying to give you an idea of how they calculate the mailbox money. So in this example, if this person leaves the $200,000 alone, under the current illustrations we have, these are guaranteed, at age 70, that's going to produce $20,487 per year of mailbox money. So assuming we had the $1,500 a month from Social Security, that's easily over $1,000 a month, so we're already there. So that would be an example of how we use part of the 401k. Again, to see our income software, to see all this in detail for your situation, there is no one size fits all, folks, and how the annuity needs to play into the game plan. That's the key. Do not buy an annuity if you don't have a game plan. You're going to waste your money and it's going to come back to haunt you. I see it all the time. Get a second opinion. If you already got an annuity, thinking about one, you need to let us look at it with the income plan. So keep that in mind. Scenario 2, let's move over here. We have a 62-year-old and 64-year-old married couple. The husband, that's for H, has $250,000 in his 401k. W is the wife. She has $150,000. They got about $20,000 in the bank. I see this a lot. So most of their money, their couple, they forge money into the 401k, which is great savings tool. Now the problem is we got a tax tumor and we don't have any other money other than $20,000 in the bank. So remember, any money they pull out of here is fully taxable, 100%, not good. Well, you say, well, Tony, what's the problem? They've got a home that's paid for. That's great. They've rushed to pay off their home, but all of a sudden they tell me, you know what, Tony, we're in a 30-year-old home. We want to remodel it. We got an estimate. It's $75,000. And I look at them and say, great, where are we going to get the money? They say, well, I don't know. Where do we get this money? I said, you're probably going to have to borrow it, because if we'd have to take $100,000 minimum to net $75,000, and there goes your retirement. So in this example, we imagine we're going to take a home equity line of credit out against the home. We would not take the full, we'd use the $150,000 of this, it could be either way, and I could set up an account with Charles Schwab, and we would set up the cash flow to pay the home equity. Now we have a much lower tax problem to deal with, and if we carve out $250,000, again, let's see, we've got, Heather ran me these. By the way, great person to be a resource. We're going to talk about minimum distributions later, but if you want to see just how the numbers work, you can email Heather at our office, heather@TonyWalkerFinancial.com. She ran me these numbers. So at age 70, again, because this is a joint account, this is going to be paid for both of their lives, it would pay $18,628. Remember, we didn't have as long to defer it. This was a 10-year, that's why it's more, plus this is going to be paid for either spouse. So as long as one of them's alive, they're going to get $18,628 a year of mailbox money guaranteed for life. Not bad. Let's go over to scenario 3. I see this a lot. This is a widow, okay? She is drawing $2,000 a month in Social Security now. She's got some CDs that have already been taxed of $150,000, an IRA of $150,000, an old 401k that's still sitting there of $50,000, and she has income needs of $4,000 a month. Well, obviously, $2,000 a month, we've got a $2,000 a month shortfall. Where are we going to get the money? Again, we would do a combination of things. Since she's 70 and a half coming up, we're going to use the 401k. I would show her how to handle that. We would move that money over. And then in this example, we're going to take the $150,000 IRA, put that in a mailbox money account. We're going to draw that out at $75,000 in about 5 years. And let's see, Aaron, what we have. So that's going to pay her $11,813 a year for life. Now, the good thing about this, folks, you don't have to take it at these set ages. We're just using examples of how flexible it is. But that's a lot of money. And obviously, as some of these assets are spent down, she's going to have the additional $11,000. Plus, as I tell people, as you get older, most people start spending less and less money. By the time this person gets in her 80s, more than likely, she's not going to need $4,000 a month. I watch this play out all the time. One of my good friends and clients recently lost his spouse. And Buddy told me, he said, Tony, he sold his house. He moved into an apartment. The apartment rent's $1,200 a month. He loves to play golf, blah, blah, blah. He's not spending hardly any money. So keep that in mind, folks. When you look at the 3 halves of life, the way we work things out and program it, we are going to assume as you get older, what I've seen in my practice and doing this for over 33 years, most people start spending less, not more, okay? That's barring healthcare problems and nursing homes. I'm just talking about for basic lifestyle needs. And then finally, scenario 4, we've got younger people. People say, well, can I get mailbox money? It depends on how it's allocated. In this example, we have a married couple age 50 and 52. Their money is locked up in 401ks now. So they're still working, they're still pumping money into the 401ks, and unfortunately, even if they wanted mailbox money, they can't get it yet out of the 401k because the 401k has got the money tied up. Remember, it's kind of like a government lockbox. It's very difficult to get money out of a 401k unless you terminate employment, change employers, or you're 59 and a half or older. But here's what happens. I'm seeing this more and more. People are starting at this age to receive inheritances. Their parents are dying. The generation before them had some money. So they're starting to get money, and they're coming to me and they're going, Tony, we just got a $150,000 inheritance. We didn't owe any taxes, but we don't want to spend it. We want to beef up our retirement, and we want something that's safe and secure. So what we do in this example, they had a brokerage account and a bank account, so they've got access to their money. If they didn't have, by the way, if they didn't have a brokerage account and a bank account, we wouldn't be putting this much in an annuity. We're just showing you an example. But since they do, we put the $150,000, and at age 62, let's see scenario 4, because we imagine they may want to kick in this income in what I call halftime so they can use it. It would pay $12,616 a year for the rest of their life. Now, what a way to perpetuate the wealth that was left to you by a previous generation. So folks, as you can see here, there's all kinds of different ways to take advantage of mailbox money, but the key is you need to work with an advisor who understands properly how to do income planning, how to understand taxes, how to couple that with when to take Social Security, or if you're taking Social Security now, how to keep those taxes low on the Social Security. We do all that. We got a great staff. You have yours truly that can help you individually, but most importantly, we are here to help you. Keep in mind we have no minimum account sizes. So unlike a lot of these folks that require $250,000, $500,000, even $50,000, we are here to help and we want to help you. So take advantage of our services. We have a free, no obligation appointment you can set up at either Bowling Green or Louisville. By the way, we've got brand new offices coming up for you in Louisville in just a couple of months. We got a new building, new location. That'll be announced here in the next couple of months. But to get started, just go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com. I'll be back in just a second. We're going to have a special guest for you for just a couple of minutes, my son-in-law Trey, who is now with the organization. We're going to have him share a few thoughts of what he's learned and observed since starting with Tony Walker Financial. You stay tuned. I'll be right back.
Worried about running out of money in retirement? For a limited time, 5-time author and retirement specialist Tony Walker is making available his latest book, Mailbox Money for Life. For your free copy, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Welcome back to the WorryFree Retirement, and good to have you with us on this beautiful day here in Louisville, Kentucky. With us in the studio now is my favorite son-in-law, my only son-in-law actually, Mr. Trey Jurgens, who joined us. When did you join the firm, Trey? I'm losing track of time.
April of this year.
April of this year. And it's been a great ride. In the essence of time, I wanted to cut to a couple of things. Number one, with your strong marketing background that you brought to our firm, first of all, you're doing an exceptional job. You've got the website up and running. You were in charge of that with the help of the staff here in Louisville, and then helped facilitate the campaign for Mailbox Money. Tell us, in your view, with your marketing background and us implementing that several weeks ago, how do you think that's going?
I think it's going well. I think a lot of people are ordering the booklet. A lot of people are calling, asking about how they get their own mailbox money. So it's exciting.
And you get to follow up with some of those people. Of course, folks, if you'd like to meet in person with myself, that's perfectly fine in the Bowling Green or Louisville office. Or, of course, you can meet with Trey. We're having a good time with that. So with the mailbox money and the use of the annuities the way we use them, what could you share with the audience that's sitting here thinking about how to use these products? What have you learned with these products in terms of the true advantage of using these income riders and these annuities in the game plan that we offer since you've been with us?
Yeah, the big thing is when we sit down and meet with somebody, they have goals for retirement. And having products that allow us to reach those goals really helps us as advisors tell them, here's the income you're going to have at whatever year. And being able to say that is really what these people want to hear.
Yeah, that's that certainty, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I think that's the cool thing when you can sit down with people and say, okay, at age 70, this is what you're going to want out of this contract. This is what it's going to pay for the rest of your life.
Right.
So a couple other things. Of course, you've gotten very familiar now with the overfunded life insurance. That's starting to pick up. I think people have more and more interest in that. And then also an announcement, if you want to share with it, we're going to probably launch this at the first of the year, but we both collectively decided we ought to do this because we have so many people retired or approaching retirement. If you'd like to tell the audience, hopefully by the first of the year, maybe even sooner, what we're going to implement for folks who are interested in this service.
Yeah, sure. Those 65 or older, or those approaching there, trying to figure out what Medigap coverage they're going to need. It's something people bring up as they come in to meet here in Louisville and in Bowling Green. So we are going to actually start providing Medicare supplement insurance and quoting those, seeing if we better your rates at all. And if you have any questions or want to learn more about that, you can email us or call our office.
Yeah, so regardless of where you're in the state of Kentucky for Medicare supplements and those types of things, we'll be offering those, the overfunded life insurance, of course the new Charles Schwab platform that's going great, plus obviously the fixed indexed annuities that we've become pretty famous for in terms of offering those products for over the past 16 years. So folks, no more excuses. If we can be of any help to you, we are continuing to grow and we want to serve your retirement planning needs. You are watching the Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Tony Walker. We'll be right back. Thanks for joining us, Trey.
Thanks.
Worried about running out of money in retirement? For a limited time, 5-time author and retirement specialist Tony Walker is making available his latest book, Mailbox Money for Life. For your free copy, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Oh yes, welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. I got time for my cup of coffee. I know we're bouncing around here a lot today, but we only have a little bit of time left for what the Bible has to say about money. Pick up a copy of Charles Spurgeon's Morning and Evening Devotional. This is an extra copy that America's favorite financial sidekick gave me, Aaron Orander. Look at this, November 6th, the morning of November 6th, it quotes Isaiah 44:3, and all it says is, I will pour water on the thirsty land. What a powerful scripture in Isaiah. What it's saying is God promises for the land. We are thirstful right now. What's thirstful? Our souls. We can't explain what's going on. We think everything's tragic. And folks, what you've got to understand, especially if you're a follower of Jesus Christ, this should come as no shock to you. We are strangers. We are aliens in a land that is very evil. Now, there's some great things that happen on earth. I know that. But folks, we've got to get more detached from the things of this world and just pray that God would quench our thirst, not in the things we're looking for in the world. Those are always going to be unpredictable, but in the things promised by God in His very Word. May I encourage you to get out the Bible. May I encourage you to try to get devotionals like this so that you could be encouraged and reminded of the wonderful things that God promises us as followers of Christ. Well, by the way, if you're sitting there saying, Tony, I don't know about that scripture stuff, but I know one thing, I'm sure worried about my money. Well, we can help. Go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on the Let's Get Started button. We can meet in our Louisville or Bowling Green offices. There is absolutely no cost or obligation. I would love the opportunity to meet you in person. Just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. And in the meantime, we're running out of time, Aaron says. In the meantime, if all else fails between now and next week, you remember to be worry-free. Make it a good one.
Thank you for watching the Worry-Free Retirement with Tony Walker. If you need a safe and simple game plan for your retirement, log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and schedule a free, no-obligation meeting with Tony.